cultural specific aspects to words. It could be translated into that's actually an extension of love. That's a result. There are different words for that love in English. You can use passion, motivation, which is the very basic motivation that underlies everything in human life. Passion, purpose, meaning. People tell you, I'm searching for a meaning for my life. What is the nature of that meaning? What is the nature of that meaning? If a person loves a woman, which is an example I gave, I'll give it again. Someone loves a woman so much that their heart is saturated with that love, they can't think of anything but that woman. If you study them carefully, almost everything they do, in one form or another, directly or indirectly, serves that purpose of their drive towards that woman. So once belief is there, it sinks down into your heart and it starts to emotions, then actions start to branch out from your heart. It gives rise to action. This is how humans function. And this is why I said the self-help books are a deen, are a religion. Are a religion. This is what they tell you. Create an image, which is a belief. Once your heart absorbs it, do you know what happens? Straight away you develop the passion, the drive, the purpose, the sense of direction, the sense of meaning towards it. And then you define yourself around this. You start to define yourself around this. Do you know why some people, when does a person feel offended? Why, did you ask yourself the question, why when the non-Muslims, mock the Prophet ﷺ, why do we feel offended? And they can't understand. If they ask you the question, you can't explain to them, yes? So why are you offended? Jazakallah khair. Do you know why? Because you have defined yourself around something the Prophet ﷺ is very pivotal in. It depends on how you define yourself. Some people define themselves around money. The way they see themselves, the way they see their future, the way they see meaning and resourcefulness in life, meaning in life is in money. So this is why all their thoughts go around money. In India they have this famous proverb. They say, when the pickpocket sees a priest or a hermit, he sees him all pockets. Because they're priests, they take a lot of money from people, so they're very wealthy. So he sees them all pockets. He defines things based on his own purpose. You define things based on your own purpose. So the first thing a human being does, when you say I, what do you mean by I? Can anyone tell me? What is this entity, I? What is it? Is it your body? What is ego? Yes, but ego is like very elusive. Break it down to something we can really relate to. What's the essence of ego? Some people define themselves around, as I said, your body. Some people, if they lose their beauty, their life is gone. The identity is in crisis. You see, they have defined themselves around their body, around their wealth. It's identity, but what is the breakdown? I need someone to break it down. So, yes, passion, but what is the reality of this passion? Again? Desires. And what's the first word? Wants and desires. You have anything else? These words are all, by the way, they're all to the same effect. But I'm just trying to break it down in a way that's practical. And believe me, if you understand this, you'll start to see the practicality. Straight away, you know how to treat your children, how to build their identity. You start to know why you think the way you think, and how you can change. You start to develop more self-awareness. Visualization has to do with belief, by the way, because it's a means to create belief. Not exactly. That's only when a person whose life revolves around shape. In a broader sense, yes. But I need something to help us understand rather than just give me another terminology. I don't need terminology. I need break it down to something even these kids can understand. It's very simple. It's the same thing. The same thing. Okay. It is basically, who am I? When I say I, what do I refer to? By the way, it's very subtle. It's very subtle that we can hardly tell, but if we don't bring the Quran here, we won't be able to understand it. I told you what it is. I, which is who we really are, is worship. And we broke down worship. What does worship mean? Worship means belief. Belief in a very technical sense, which means something, perception that takes root in your heart. You can call it an image, perception, vision, okay? It's in your heart. It's straight away, that's human nature, that's human dynamics. Once you develop that image or that perception, you develop the passion. You develop the passion. That's what Ibn al-Qayyim, which I quoted as well on Saturday, he says, he summarizes human life. He says, لِلْإِنسَانِ قُوَّةً قُوَّةٌ عِلْمِيَّةٌ نَظَرِيَّةٌ. People have two faculties. A faculty or powers. The faculty of perception and understanding. That is absorption. You absorb information through your senses. The second one is القوة العملية الإرادية. The power of passion or motivation and action. That's the summary of human life. And that's what worship is. And this is why, what is Tawheed? Tawheed, by the way, has been classified by scholars, especially at the time of Ibn Taymiyyah, as Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Tawheed al-Asma' wal-Sifat, Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. Okay? Ibn Taymiyyah himself as well uses another classification which is similar to this, but he puts al-Rububiyyah, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Tawheed of Lordship, along with Tawheed al-Asma' wal-Sifat. And that's one type. The second type is what? Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, the Tawheed of worship. Do you know what it is? Tawheed al-Asma' wal-Sifat, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah is what? It's about the knowledge you get about Allah. He's the creator. He's the sustainer. He's the owner. He's the merciful, most merciful. He's the omnipotent. He's the almighty. That's called al-Mathal al-A'la. There's a perception in your heart. There's a place in your heart that is so receptive to this. It absorbs it like a sponge. Once it gets that information, it absorbs it, and this is when Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah comes, the motivation, the will to worship Allah. This is why when someone asks you, how can I increase my love for Allah? How can I become a better servant? Do you know what the secret is? Allah gave it to us in the Quran. He tells us about Himself. He tells us about Himself. Surah Al-Fatiha is all about this. Surah Al-Fatiha is all of it is all about this. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah. Obviously that's seeking the blessings to start with the name of Allah. The first one is Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. It reminds you that Allah is Lord of the worlds. He's the creator, the sustainer, the one who dominates everything. And the one who runs basically the whole universe. Alhamd, what does Alhamd mean? Alhamd is something beyond praise. Far greater than praise. It has the meaning of thankfulness, gratefulness. It has the meaning of love and admiration. You admire Allah, you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you move towards Allah because of His perfection. So it's an overwhelming love and drive because of the perfection. Humans are created to love perfection. Why do humans love beautiful people? It's a sign of perfection. We love people who have strength. Why? Because a person who has power and strength is more complete, more perfect than a person who's weak. That's human nature. So this is why ultimate strength and completeness is with Allah. This is why we naturally incline to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once we know about Him. That's Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Names and attributes of Allah. He's the merciful, most merciful. Maliki Yawmiddin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala casts fear in your heart, but not by mentioning one of His names or attributes. It's a gentle way to bring fear to your heart. He reminds you of the day of judgment. So you fear His punishment. That's the gentleness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here. So these are what? Rububiyyah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Asma' and Sifats. That's the knowledge you get in your heart about Allah. What's the natural consequence of that? Result. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ. Straight away you develop the path. Once you perceive this information, digest it, assimilate it, absorb it well, naturally your heart moves towards it. You develop the will to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ. Straight away. Then, this intention and this drive needs guidance. You say, وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. And though we have developed this love for you and this passion, this drive towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we need your help. We need your help to fulfill that right. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that what do they ask for? اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Show us the way through which we can fulfill this drive and this will. That's what humans are. So basically, Fatiha, do you know, if we want to put it in modern terms, it's your mission statement. Fatiha, if we think about Fatiha as we pray like this, I don't think you will have time to look at the person next to you, what kind of socks he's wearing, or what kind of thawb he's wearing. You don't have time for that. You see how engaging Al-Fatiha is? It deals with your essence. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it obligatory upon us at least to recite it 17 times. It's not just like, it's not by way of accident you recite it 17 times. There's a meaning there. It tells you who you are. That's your identity. So when you say I, people think it's some kind of a fixed entity or value that doesn't change. No, you choose who you are. So who are you? You are the image that is in your heart that preoccupies the center of your heart, the throne of your heart, and underlies or creates that passion that underlies everything you do in life. And that's worship. And that's who you are. And I'll explain why. Muslims, as I said, feel offended